What would you build if you had to live here forever? In a Minecraft world like this, I wouldn't just survive. I'd build infrastructure, systems that remove friction, paths that connect everything. Not a world you rush through, but a world you can disappear into, a place that feels lived in. My name is Sino, and welcome to my survival world. Hello guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Sino and I post videos of me playing on the same survival Minecraft world that I have been playing on for more than 10 years now already. So sit back and relax, maybe get a nice hot or cold beverage to watch this video with, and hopefully you guys enjoy. As you guys could tell by what I have done in the cinematic, I have gotten rid of all these trees around my cave base. I just thought it had to go, man. And what the? Hello? Yo, come on, get him, get him. Alright, thanks, buddy. I have thought, after being in Pine Rest for so long, and then after being in Steamy Springs for so long, I feel like I have changed as a builder. My standards have elevated. Who's that? I have improved my building skills within a year by a ton, and it makes me look back at my old buildings and think, man, I can really do better than that. I can do better than these fences over here. I don't know what I was thinking years ago when I built this. Or even this building over here. What was I thinking when I built this? But yeah, this thing is history over here, man. It's gonna be really hard for me to get rid of this. I don't know if I'm ready to get rid of this yet. It looks ugly. It's not perfect, but it's one of my first buildings I've built in this world. This is the first building I have ever built in this world. I realized, man, I don't want history to get in the way of my new standards, and this is a world that I'm gonna keep forever, so why not make the places that I'm gonna be in forever? I can make that a lot nicer with these trees getting chopped down. That's just the start of it. Look at this house over here. I've been staring at this house for a bit now, and I realize we can do better. This is not a surprise to me, but it might be a surprise to you. I'm gonna be demolishing this house, and I'm gonna be replacing it with something that's a little bit more up to my current standards. But before we take down this entire house, I'm gonna have to take out all the valuables that are still in here. And this seems to be the most active area I've been inside this house. Oh, you can see the buildings from this. Yeah, there's quite a bit in here. No, actually not that much. Alright, yeah, okay, here's a full chest, maybe full of interior stuff I used to build the interior over here. Got ourselves a goat horn over here. Yeah, and we got my first ever bow. I still gotta craft a new bow. I think this is my first golden apple. Cat music disc. 2025 projects. I think I renamed this twice already. It was first Projects 2024, now it's Projects 2025. It's been a while since I've looked at this. Alright, I'm gonna keep this, but I'm gonna have to rename it and create an entirely new list. Yeah, so let's just get all of these valuables out, maybe move them down to the cave base, and yeah, let's see what we're working with. Now that the old house is gone, there's finally space to think. This is where planning the new house starts. I start with the approach. The main road decides everything. This is the angle most people will see first. So the house has to read clearly from a distance. Before details, I block out the shape. Wide enough to feel settled, tall enough to feel intentional. Nothing excessive. Once the form works, I think about character. This should be a countryside house. Something you'd expect to find just outside a city. Familiar and timeless. This isn't a landmark. It's a home. Built to be walked past, built to be lived in, built to still feel right years from now. So with that out of the way, let's plan the blocks that will be used. So guys, let me break down the blocks I'm going to be using for this entire build structure that we are standing in right now. As you guys can see, I laid out the entire shape, and then we're going to fill it up with these different block palettes that I have presented here. So first off, we got some, I think at the bottom level, a few parts are going to look a bit stony, a bit overgrown, so I decided to go with mossy cobblestone, some cobblestone, and some tuff. Very basic, easy to attain blocks. For a lot of the walls, it's going to consist of this like shading. I don't know if you call it a gradient or shading, but I'm going to use this texture here of this variety of different woods, strip dark oak, mangrove, jungle, and then strip spruce, and then oak logs. So these are all the logs I'm going to be using for most of the walls. Here, I think it's going to be this middle section up here that goes up, another floor up. That is going to consist of, the walls are going to be oak logs, and you know what? I'm going to use my banners because you guys know I love my banners, so of course I'm including the banners. That's going to serve as a trim for most of these walls on this top surrounding part, so it gives that Tudor style. So next up, we got the roof palette. This one is pretty simple. The entire roof is just going to be deep slate tiles, and then the trimming around the deep slate tile roofs are going to be brick, mud bricks, jungle plank stairs, which is jungle planks, and then oak planks and birch planks. These are going to be the variations of like trimmings. As you can see, I can work with it a lot and adds a bit more variety in color to the build. What I have grafted out over here is a nice variety in color and contrast. So yeah, guys. So I'm going to go travel out and find most of these resources. Let's go. I need a lot of tough and deep slate, so I head to Middleton. Middleton already has a mine, so it just makes sense to get it from there. I stop at South Stop because it's surrounded by plains. There's grass everywhere, so I just harvest a bunch while I'm there. For bricks, I go to Pine Rust. Under Pine Rust, it's basically lush caves everywhere, so there's a ton of clay. I mine the clay there and use the smelter that's already in Pine Rust. With most of the blocks collected, it's finally time to start building. Guys, I am finally done building the house. Man, I've done also a lot of things alongside that. Let me just walk through this and then let me show you. So as you can tell, the landscape looks a little bit different. I've added a lot more foliage. I've added a lot more grass, a lot more dry bushes, some firefly bushes mixed in between those. But also, look at this. This square over here has been overgrown now. I've made it look a bit more overgrown. I've added a lot of like flower patches throughout this area. The main stuff I built was this house, but also a tree alongside that house, and then also a water wheel alongside the tree. So there are plenty of stuff that I've built, and let me show you guys everything I've worked on. So first off, the very small part over here is this square area. I've made it overgrown. I thought, hey man, it's pointless to have a huge square and I don't do anything ever in that square, so I just decided to, bring the grass back, and that's what I did. Donation board stays, and I'll update the donation board with all the new donations since the last video. I'll add them here. Once this board fills up, I have an idea to add donations in a much more creative way in the future. But if we go back here to the road, instead of using gravel, cobble, andesite, sometimes people go all out and they just use so many different blocks, and that's what people call block vomit. I don't want the path to have a lot of contrast. I don't want the path to look very messy and noisy, so I just kept it cobblestone, mossy cobblestone on the sides. And that's about it. The OGs, or people that have been watching me for years, will know how many changes this pond has gone through. And hopefully this is the final change it will have to go through. I've removed this guardrail around the pond. Now it looks more overgrown and there's a lot more bushes and plant life and everything here. And guys, you guys remember this place used to be like surrounded with trees. Now it is just flat, and in these flat lands I had to add some sort of like something interesting, something for the eyes to look at, because if it was just grass, it would look very boring. That's why I added a lot of patches of like dry bush, and then also I added a lot of like patches of flowers, and I think it came out very nicely, just different flowers with the same color, and I think it looks quite brilliant. This is a nice area to walk through, really. I really like walking through this area. And as you guys can see over here, I added a water wheel. I don't know why I added a water wheel. There's no flowing water, but maybe this used to be a very old water wheel. Maybe there used to be flowing water. For those of you that don't know the backstory of this creeper face, years ago, let's say 6 years ago or something, I wanted to make like a mob farm or a mob trap or whatever. I really miscalculated the numbers with the mob farm, and then I just, I gave up on it, and then I just left it. And then years later, I just built over it. Now it looks very overgrown. And yeah, this is how it looks now. That's actually a nice piece of history. That is actually a ruined building. So yeah. And also, as for the minecart that goes all the way to my base, I made it go down. Right now, currently, it doesn't lead to anything. It's a dead end down there. But in the future, I want it to go down into my cave base. All right, look at this, guys. You guys know I love using banners, but this time I got a bit more technical. I got a bit more advanced with the banners. I really like how this looks, and I think it really paid off. But let me show you guys the entrance to this house. There's no way to get to this house from the path down there. I still got to find a way to actually make it make sense to go up here. Right now, you got to go into the cave base, and then you got to go take this elevator up from the cave base, and then you end up here. And then only you're at the entrance for this house. As you guys can see, I try to do like this. It's just a bunch of like poles here. And the way I did that is I mixed up nether brick fences with dark oak fences. And it just makes a nice effect of like poles next to each other. It's not possible to do like dark oak fences next to each other and have this effect like this where they don't connect. The only way that's possible is with a debug stick. So that's why I used nether brick fences for that. But if we go inside the house, it is still very like unfurnished. There's not much inside. I still gotta add a lot of stuff here, but I think over time, as the series progresses, I'm going to be adding a lot more into this house. I'm not in a rush to add things here. Of course, I just added this little area here, a nice little planning section, a lectern where I can place down a book, some bookshelves here to put like some books in here. And here's a nice room over here. And then if we open up this door, would you look at this view, guys? Man, I really love this. I can't get enough of this view. If you just open up here and just go out here, you just get a nice view of the city, which I love. But one thing you guys notice is I've added these boulders to the place, and I really think it adds a lot more, I don't know, it adds more detail to the environment. I built and terraformed this place, and it did not have these boulders and it felt empty. So I just decided, hey man, let's add some stones. Let's add not some stones, but these huge boulders and rocks just sticking out the edges of all these cliffs. And I thought, man, this really added a lot more detail to the place. So I kept it. As you can see at the top parts of these boulders, it's mostly just clay. And then I also added a lot of like dried out coral plants. As you go down the boulder to the bottom of it, there's andesite, some more coral blocks, and then stone. The top at the part gets the most sunlight. That's why I use like a very bright gray color for it. So yeah, I really like how it came out. And I can't forget the tree, guys. Look at this. I think this might be the best tree I've built so far. I really try to be more realistic with how I built the trees, because the trees that I've built in the past are not as airy as they should be. For example, like look at this old tree. That tree was built like years ago. I don't think that represents my current like standard or style when it comes to trees. So I might have to chop that down. But yeah, look at this, guys. So it's a lot of fences, a lot of walls, a lot of window panes, and then of course just a lot of like azalea leaf blocks, a lot of like birch, a little bit of like spruce, just at the darker parts on the inside of the tree. When I built this house, it looked nice, but it felt like something was missing, so I thought, yeah, it is missing a tree. So after I added this tree, it just looked a lot better. I think, guys, when you're in doubt, maybe just add a tree next to the building. As you can see, I did like floating candles there, floating green candles. So it looks like leaves are blowing off the tree. Since the ocean is very windy here, it blows the tree a lot and leaves just fall off a lot because of the wind just constantly blowing. I thought it would be nice to add that little detail there. So those of you that have watched the previous video, you guys might have known that I have gotten a new dog. Finally, after how many months, I finally have a new dog. And in the previous video, I also asked for you guys to comment down below, what do you guys think we should name this dog? After 2 weeks, I finally chose the top comment to name this dog. Snow. Say hello to Snow, everybody. Look, he's looking at you guys. Say hi. So yeah, hopefully this will be our last dog. Our second and last dog. Hopefully Snow won't have the same fate as Spruce. So guys, as I harvest some of this sand on top of this amplified chunk border in the world, I thought I could talk to you guys about something a bit more important, which is the future of this world. For those of you that are new here, ever since last year I've started taking this world seriously. I've also started taking this channel seriously, and it is really paying off. And yeah, my scope for my world has always been the same. I had big ideas and big plans even when I was not posting videos, and nothing is changing because now I'm posting videos. I've always had an idea in my head of what I want this world to be like. With that being said, over the past few months, or I would say year, my building taste, I would say, also like just how I build has become a lot better now. I feel like there's a lot of visible evidence that I can build a little bit better than I did a few years ago. And why I'm saying that is because ever since I arrived back into Spawn City, I realized there are so many builds that I just do not like anymore. And the thought of maybe just removing that went through my head, and I just had to pause for a second before considering doing something so drastic. My taste has improved, and now I look back at all the stuff I've built before, and then I just look at it and it feels like I feel like it's distracting me. Because I have so many ideas of what I want to build in this world, especially in Spawn City, because that's going to be the main hub of this world. So don't be mad at me for wanting it to be perfect, essentially. I want it to be perfect, and it will be perfect in my eyes. With making that perfect, that means I'm going to be building a lot of new stuff in Spawn City. That means there's a lot of new areas. I'm going to be planning out districts in the world, in Spawn City specifically. I'm going to be planning out different districts for different purposes and functions. An entertainment district, an industrial district, all of this. With the current builds I have in the city, it feels more of an obstacle than history. Because some people will give the argument of, oh, you can't remove those builds, it is history. That is removing history from your world. And to that I say, a lot of those builds, I just built them because I was bored. I didn't build them because I really wanted it to be there. It's making me trip over the past more than realizing, oh, look how far I've come. Yeah, that just leads me to one solution. That would be to, demolish most of the buildings I just don't like anymore. The thing is, though, I've been contemplating about it as well. It's like, okay, should I keep it? Should I leave it? It's history. Why am I trying to remove history? And then I think to myself, it's gonna be hard for me to build new things with that clutter still around. I don't really want it there. My standards have improved, and I'm building newer and better things in the city. So that leads me to one conclusion only. So it is that time of the video again. I'm gonna read through a few of your comments while I walk through this lovely world real quick. First comment we got from Just Another Comment. As an animation student, seeing the little animated and draw bits in your video was so awesome. And here I thought you were already maxed out on visual flair. 10 out of 10 content, homie. Thanks, man. I really want to have more visual flair in my videos in the future and include more art into my videos in some creative ways. Okay, next comment we got from Kiwi Fruit. I need weekly videos. Waiting this long drains me so much. I finished your series from the beginning and it was so majestic. Yeah, I feel you, Kiwi Fruit. I really feel you. I understand, man, because I've also been one of those viewers, that watch a series and they're like, man, I wish this YouTuber uploaded more. And now I'm starting to understand how those YouTubers feel, because it takes some work. I really want to get back to doing weekly videos. The first thing I got to do is I got to stick on my schedule. After I stick to my schedule of a bi-weekly upload schedule, then I can slowly shift towards posting weekly again. Next comment we got from Sarah Ja. How many time do you spend watching reels on your phone? I spend too much time. I spend a lot of time watching reels on my phone. As a matter of fact, too much. I spend too much time. That's why this video was late, guys. But yeah, I'll make sure it doesn't happen again. Next comment we got from Doxy Lamine. What kind of groceries have you been into lately? Oh, that's a good question. At my local grocery store, there's this package of steaks, of sirloin steaks. It's like a box of sirloin steaks where you buy 6 sirloin steaks, and it's the price of 5 or 4 sirloin steaks. I really love a good steak, especially because, I do bodybuilding as a hobby and I need a lot of protein. So, yeah. Next comment we got from Cole McKee. Hey, is your armor a texture pack or a trim? So my armor is literally just netherite armor with the silent armor trim on it. and I used netherite as the color for the silent armor trim on my netherite. So I got netherite on netherite. Alright guys, so I think that will be all the comments of the... And hopefully you guys really enjoyed this video. It took a while for me to work on this thing. I want to get back to being more reliable and consistent with posting my videos, so I don't post late as I did this time now. I'm very excited for what this world is going to become in the near future, and I hope you guys are also excited. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.